Hello, everybody. We're going to switch gears a little bit this week. So I thought that for this week we could look at infectious diseases as well as sexually transmitted infections, just because of some of the current events that are going on. So unless you've um, just missed the news for the last month or so, the coronavirus has been one of the big stories for the last month or so, and its outbreak and spread in a lot of mainland China, and now even a couple of cases being confirmed here in the United States. So I thought we could spend a little bit of time this week talking about infectious diseases and what they are and what kind of steps we can take to protect ourselves from those. So, wanted to go through what the coronavirus actually is. So, a coronavirus actually they are a family of viruses that cause respiratory issues, and so many common colds are actually caused by a coronavirus. So, there's about four coronaviruses that um, you'll see that are common causes for the cold. The rhinovirus is another virus that causes the common cold. So anyway, the coronavirus is not something that's completely new that we've never seen. Now, this coronavirus that we've seen popping up in China is a novel coronavirus. You may have even heard it referred to as the novel coronavirus in the news. And so these new coronavirus strands that pop up can be particularly deadly for a number of reasons. I mean, one, they're just new, and so we don't have the always the resources or the knowledge and data to be able to treat them. And oftentimes, the particular strands are much more deadly than some of these coronaviruses that pop up a little bit more frequently. So, a couple of these that you may have heard of before. So, SARS. Um, Many of you probably are too young to remember SARS, but um, it was it was the coronavirus before the coronavirus now. So it also was deadly in China. It was a particularly deadly coronavirus, so it killed about 10% of the people that contracted um, SARS were killed from it. So MERS was another one that popped up in the Middle East and Saudi Arabia a few years back, and the novel coronavirus has actually just been named. It's been named COVID-19, and so it is already shown to be have a lot more cases that have popped up than these other two previous ones, as well as while maybe not being more deadly, may end up being more dangerous when it's all said and done, just because of the volume of cases that have been confirmed. So it was first reported New Year's Eve in Wuhan, China. And now there's been approximately 60,000 cases the last I've looked, about 1,400 deaths in mainland China. There's definitely concern here in the United States, but uh, the risk of contracting this new coronavirus is extremely low. So there's only 15 cases that have been confirmed so far in the United States. And the CDC and some of the uh, health officials have been taking some steps to make sure that we don't see an outbreak of the coronavirus here in the United States. So some of the symptoms are just cold symptoms. So fever, difficulty breathing is one that's a little bit newer or a little bit more unique for this strand of coronavirus. So people experiencing some more severe respiratory issues, as well as some coughing, runny nose. So again, some different cold-like symptoms. But what's a big issue with this coronavirus is that it has a particularly long incubation period. So what that means is uh, the time from when you would be exposed to this virus to the time that you would actually show symptoms can be up to 2 weeks. So you could be carrying this disease and be able to transmit it to other people without ever knowing that you actually have the virus. And so that makes it particularly difficult to be able to track and to be able to quarantine people and take different measures to stop the spread of the disease. So, hearing a lot about the coronavirus, but I want to ask you, what about the flu? So, the flu, here again this year, it comes every year, and it's a particularly bad year for the flu this year, and these are the kind of numbers that we've seen from flu season this year. So about 22 million cases in the United States. And just this week, there have been 4 million new cases that have been added to that. And so, particularly much more deadly, 12,000 flu deaths this year, and the CDC predicts that flu cases will continue to rise for weeks. So let me use this opportunity to make my PSA. If you have not gotten a flu shot this year, it is not too late. So I would implore you to go and get your flu shot sometime this season. As sooner you can, the better. If you've already done that, kudos to you. I appreciate that you have done that. So if you're a student that's on campus, you can still go to Student Health Services and get your flu vaccine. If not, you can always get one at a local pharmacy. Go stop by your doctor's office and get one as well. So use the flu shot to protect you and those around you. So I want to use this time now to talk about the concept of herd immunity. So many of you may be flu shot skeptics. You're thinking, I don't get the flu shot. Maybe you don't get sick when you don't get the flu shot. You've heard that people that do get the flu shot still get sick. You don't think it's very effective. And there's a video actually I posted on your module this week that I'd like you to view. It talks about some of the more common myths about the flu shot. So I'd like you to take a look at that. And I want to go through this, why getting the flu shot is important. So I was also a skeptic. I never got a flu shot. I'm somebody that you rarely get sick anyway, until I heard about this concept of herd immunity and felt more of a responsibility, not for myself, but for those around me to get my flu shot. So if we think about how disease spreads, so let's say we have this population of 100 people. So this is 100 people here on this slide. All of these people are susceptible to a certain disease. So someone becomes infected with this disease. So this red person here in the middle of the screen has contracted some disease. So we can think of that as the flu or any other kind of infectious disease. And like many diseases, it's spread from person to person contact. So this could be through droplets in the air, or it could also be through some kind of contact. So you shake hands with somebody, and then that's transmitted to you either orally, like when you eat, or something like that. That's why the CDC is always recommending you to wash your hands, especially during flu season. So person-to-person contact, this person that's infected, the people that are around this person, gives this disease to people that they are around. So it spreads through those who have contact. And it continues to do that. So the people that have contracted the disease from the original person have now contracted the disease to the people that they have contact with, and so on and so forth, and it continues. But we know that in a population, not everyone is susceptible to a disease all the time, particularly diseases that have vaccines or some kind of immunity to them. So if we think about this in the concept of the flu vaccine, there are some people that are immune. So if we look at this, the red person is still the person that's infected, but all of these people that are yellow are people that have gotten a vaccine. So we'll continue this using the flu as an example. So these are people that have gotten the flu shot. They're immune to getting the flu. So normally, this person would give the flu to everyone that they come in contact with, but in this case, it's only this person below them that they're going to be able to give the flu to, because that is the person that is susceptible. So the yellow people that are around this red infected person are not getting the disease. And because they're not getting the disease, they're also protecting the people that are beside of them. So if we play this out, so this second person is now given the disease to these two other people that they're in contact with, but another yellow person there beside that has immunity is protected. And so play it out again. So one more person is infected. But if we look at this now, all of the infection is actually being consolidated within these 5 people. And the disease is not going to spread out to all of these susceptible people out there in the population because enough people in this population have an immunity. And that's how herd immunity works. It's this idea that enough people in your population have gotten an immunity to a certain disease that the entire population is protected, even those that are susceptible or don't have some vaccine or some kind of immunity. So let me just use this as my public service announcement to implore you for the importance of vaccines, the importance of getting yourself protected. They are not just for you, they are for those that are around you, especially those that are much more susceptible to infectious diseases, and that includes the very young and the very old. So oftentimes I'll show a picture of my grandmother and my son and my nieces and nephews who are people that are more susceptible to this, to say that I get my flu shot now, not just for myself, but for these people that I love, that I can protect them from getting a flu shot, for me getting a vaccine. So the importance of vaccines, not just for yourself, but for all of those that are around you. So vaccines are a private and public good. So again, I ask you to get your flu shot, protect yourself and those around you. So said we'd spend a little bit of time too this week. I'm not going to spend as much time in this video talking about it, but you'll read a lot of articles and hear some videos from people talking about sexually transmitted infections. So maybe you've seen in the news, but sexually transmitted infections are on the rise again. They've been on the rise for the last few years. The CDC released their report, the 2018 report, back in October, and the cases of chlamydia were the highest rate of any disease that the CDC has ever recorded in 1 year. So that's a big deal. And North Carolina is one of the states that's being hit the hardest. So in some of those rankings that came out, North Carolina is ranked in the top 10 for new sexually transmitted infections. Not a place you want to be ranked near the top. And Guilford County, if we break it down even further, is well above the state average on many of these sexually transmitted infections. So this is a graphic from a few years ago, but shows that Guilford County was particularly hit hard with new gonorrhea infections, and so there's a number of reasons for why this could be. And I'm not going to get into that right now because that's part of your discussion board, and I want you to do some searching this week as to what are some reasons you think that these diseases are on the rise again, and what are some steps that we could take to maybe curb this. So what do I want you to do this week? I want you to read chapter 14 in your book, Protecting Against Infectious Diseases and Sexually Transmitted Infections. Take the reading quiz. So for those of you reading the older version of the book, I think that is chapter 13. So that's going to be where the reading quiz is going to be. And I'm going to post this a little bit later on, give you a little bit more information. But you spent your week this past week learning about stress and sleep. And so we're going to do our first health log where you're actually going to track your sleep using a website called the Better Sleep Project that's going to give you a score every night based on how your quality of sleep. And I'm also going to be posting a little bit later this week your behavior change group. So I just want you to make a quick post on what you want your behavior change to be so your group has an idea of the things that you're going to be working on this semester, and so they can have an idea of what you're going to be going through and be able to give you some advice and hold you accountable. So go through the week 6 module materials and take the quiz. So I've listed a lot of materials for this week, and there's also a quiz that's going to be related to all those different materials. So while I'm just short articles and short videos. There's a lecture PowerPoint that I've posted that I'm not doing a lecture on. It's mostly all the materials there in the PowerPoint. So the quiz is going to be drawing from all of those different materials that are in the module. So there's not a time limit on this quiz. You can take all week to take it. So just make sure you're looking at all those different materials. And finally, I want you to, there's a discussion board where I want you to do more than just watch the TED Talk. But there's a TED Talk that talks about the stigma associated with HIV that's still very much present. And I want you to take some time to watch that TED Talk and post some reactions to it, as well as to post some responses to some of your students. So remember, on the discussion boards, I am asking you to do an original post by Tuesday night, and you will then respond to at least 2 of your classmates by Thursday at midnight. So the way I've set it up is if you're looking on Canvas and you're using the to-do list, then you're going to see that your discussion board post is due on Tuesday. But I'm actually going in and looking to see that you're making the responses to your classmates and that you're making them on time as well. So just please make sure that you're getting those in and that you're responding. So make sure that, this is supposed to be discussion, so that you are responding to students that ask you questions or that come and challenge you. So make sure you're monitoring that discussion board. And one last thing on discussion board. So you may have seen some grades that have came through this week, and a lot of points that I took off for the discussion board were people that had made responses that were just restating and summarizing what the original post had said. So that's not what I'm intending for you to do with the discussion board. I'm intending for you to make a well thought out response that builds on something that the poster had said. Okay, so a response of that you agree, and a summarization and a restating of what was said is not a response, and so you're not going to receive full credit for that. So make sure you're making a well thought out response that shows some critical thoughts so you can get some full credit on those responses. So that's all I have for the video for this week. So please reach out to me if you have any questions, and look forward to seeing what kind of thoughts and reactions y'all have for this week.